Hey everybody, welcome to part number 4 of the 1913 Duesenberg Cyclekart build. Today we're working on the tail section, which is this right here. So I pretty well got it all done right now, but I'll show you how we did it coming up. So on top of our wire form, I put a piece of poster board. This is lightweight poster board, and I've cut some pleats into it. These are going to be where we're going to shrink all this aluminum down. So it's going to get all shrunk. This might get stretched, this will get shrunk. The design of this is to make a template so we can cut a piece of aluminum that approximate the shape we need. So that's step one, and you're going to make a template once you do all these other pieces as well. You'll need a cardboard template. So I buy a pack of them. I don't know how many's in this pack. 10, 15 sheets, something like that. Anyway, so that's what we're starting with, and that's the first step. So we'll get that onto the aluminum and cut the piece of metal. Okay, so we got the template off of the wire form, and I'm going to mark out on the aluminum sheet where I want to cut. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these pieces of tape off of here, take the pleats out, because now we're going from a curved piece to a flat piece. This just gets the overall shape to get it close for you, so that when you go to shape your material, you're not fighting against the shape of the piece of metal you got. So these little pleats and tucks are going to come out, and that's going to be your flat piece you're going to create. So I'm going to use the flat edge across the top here. And it's okay if that doesn't follow exactly, it doesn't really matter much. Just kind of square it up in there as best you can. And then we're just going to mark the outside edges. And we're going to cut this to size. I'm going to cut this as round as I can. This has got some jagged edges on it, and that's okay. So we're just going to kind of straighten that out when we come to our cut. So this just gives you a guide for the material. So you can see it's a little lumpy, bumpy. But when I go to cut that, it won't be a factor. So here's a trick I learned a long time ago on sheet metal or any kind of metal work. Having a deburring tool like this really makes it nice, because after you cut anything like this, the edges are a little sharp. And as you're working it, your chances of you cutting yourself are pretty high. So take the deburring tool around all the edges, both sides, and makes your piece a little nicer. I know this is not the final edge, because we're going to trim this down later, but while we're working it, we don't want to have sharp edges everywhere. You just run it along the edge like this, and it kind of pulls off a little ribbon of metal. Run it a couple times and squeeze it right down. So kind of go around it slowly, especially the edges that cut with that tin snips. You're going to pull off these little tiny shards of metal, and that's what's going to smooth off the metal edge. It kind of rounds it over a little bit, I guess. You can see that. It was like a little curly cue of aluminum. What's going to be the other side? I think I got this from Summit or Speedway. I forgot what company I got it from. It was many years ago I got it. It lasted a long, long time. They come with extra blades. Here's the extra blades right all around. I've never had to replace a blade. It stays pretty sharp. There's this edge too. All right, now we're ready to start hammering. Before I do that, I'm going to draw some guidelines on here to keep in the center line, so I kind of know where the center is at, and some stripes I can keep track of hammer blows and where I'm shrinking things. So we'll do that next. Okay, see how much shape I got just in a little bit of hammering. Now I did mark both sides to kind of keep an eye, so I can run lines of hammer marks on both sides. And I did on both sides because I'm hammering on this side, but then when I wheel it, I'm going to wheel on this side just to help me keep indexing so I run straight lines. I did make a center line, so we kind of know where the center's at. Yeah, so it's coming along. When I put it up on the form, I still have to shrink quite a bit here, so I'm going to continue shrinking this, and it's coming together pretty quickly. So hopefully this will turn out well on the first try. Okay, so I just ran it through the English wheel. I'm using a number 6 die or a 6-inch die, and I found that by, I've got this tool, shows it has numbers on it. This is a 6-inch radius. I just put that on the and it tells me I've got a 6-inch radius, and it also fits in here with this. So I might need to tighten this radius up a little bit as I go, but for this area it's pretty good. I did the English wheel basically just to take the big hammer marks out of it. You see how much shape we've already got. I've only been working on this for about 20 minutes. I'm going to have to shrink more here, stretch a bit more here, and then shrink probably back in here, because the way this is fitting on the, let me show you this real quick. The way this is fitting on here, I need to bring this down here and raise this up right up here. Sorry, the camera's not in the right spot. I'm watching. Got to watch where my hand's at. So raise this area here and shrink this area here. And after we get that done, I might have to shrink up here a little bit. So we'll see how this goes, but she's coming together pretty good. Okay, so this is coming along pretty good. I've got quite a bit of shape in this now. I've been on it this for about an hour now. There's still some hammer marks and a couple little low spots that I need to hammer out. But the shape is getting really close. If I put it on the form, we still have to shrink more here, more down here. Sorry, something dropped off the table. Shrink more down here, and that'll have the effect of shrinking this up here. Because right now this is sitting a little bit proud. If I hold that there, this needs to shrink down a little bit more. I just did a few more shrinks on it, and it's coming really close together. If you can see really in the shadow, see those little marks in the metal? That's the shrinks. That's how you know you got to shrink in there. So that's the metal pulling together. If you can picture pleats in a piece of cloth or something, you kind of see a little bit of waviness in there. And when you're running through the English wheel, you can hear it. It goes thump, 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 thump. Anyway, that is where you have shrinks. They're not really high spots or low spots. Well, I guess they actually are because the English wheel feels them, but it's just telling you that the metal shrunk there. And I did a few up in this area as well. A little hard to see because of glare. But yeah, it's coming together pretty well. See some of the marks are wearing off of it, so I might need to remark my center line. The back sides where I've been hammering. This tells me, this line here tells me this is where this breaks over on here. So I kind of transfer that onto the workpiece. So I had an idea of where all the most of the shrinking needs to occur. And yeah, so it's coming together pretty good. So carrying on. Okay, so I've got a bit of a problem. So I've got it pretty well shaped, but it's coming up a little short here on the sides. I'm not sure why. So what I decided to do, instead of having this look goofy on the sides, I'm going to cut this corner piece out pretty much at this line, or a little high at this line maybe. And the reason I'm doing that is because there's so much shape in this one piece, and to get this piece to shape properly, it affects this. So it's really, I'm fighting it basically. I think I've found the limits of my skills, so I'm happy that I've got this shape in here. So I'm going to cut this out so I can fine tune this so it fits perfect, and then I can make this upper sail panel probably in one piece because it's got a lot less shape. Even if I have to have two pieces, not the end of the world. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this now. I've marked it where these lines are at. I'm going to take it off the fixture and cut these pieces out. So we'll get this thing fine-tuned. Okay, so I cut off this little nose piece or tail piece. This turned out really nice. I've tuned it up a little bit with the shrinker. You can see the shrink marks are on the bottom. It really took the shape nicely. Actually, it looks really good. This is the piece I cut off, so that's, you know, chalk that up to learning. So the sail panel, I made a paper template also. Let's call it the sail panel, the upper part of the body work. So I've already cut it. I need to kind of trim it up a little bit more, but it's a little proud back here. That won't be a problem for now though. So we're going to start shaping on this one. To get this shape, I think I have to stretch it here, up in this area, which will have the effect of shrinking this area, which will bring that nose down a little bit. So that's what we're going to work on next. Okay, so here's where we are after shortening this piece. I've made my top panel, and I ended up shortening it a bit. Also, I cut, I don't know, 8 inches off or so. I was having a really hard time getting enough shrink into this to get all the way down into here. There's quite a bit of shrink here. If I laid the straight edge on there, it would drop probably 2 inches. So that wasn't happening. So what I did was I shrunk. You can see how much drop there is from there. Got about a ½ inch. I just used a deep throat shrinker, which is this tool here. Dennis Thomas and I went in and bought this a year or two ago. It works pretty good. So it does leave a lot of marks on the metal, which is not a big deal because it's all going to get painted. But what this does, it just progressively brings this down. So if I put that straight edge on there again, maybe you can see how much that shrunk and how far back it shrunk it. That's about 4 inches into the panel or so. That's about as deep as it reaches. So now that I put these in yesterday also, but they ended up being a little tall. They were higher, so I cut them loose. So that's not going to be too much help. So now all I got to do is make a panel to go between this panel and that panel. And that should be fairly straightforward. Any rate, moving along, making progress, and yeah, all good stuff. So there's the 3 sections. We've got them drilled and screwed together temporarily. I think the shape is pretty good. You see the profile. I do have to trim all along the bottom, and we'll use the wire form to guide that and then make the other part. So I think I'll call that the end of this video. This has got the rough end of the tail section pretty well done. I'm pretty happy with that result. So this will get riveted after we clean up the metal a little bit, sand some of these marks out of it. A little bit riveted and painted, and then this will get riveted all around the edges for the bottom piece that goes around the bottom. So this fits great on the cart. Actually, let me show you what that looks like right now. Okay, there it is, sit on the cart. Pretty happy with that. So it's going to get relieved and trimmed a little bit up here, and then all around the bottom will get trimmed, and then that aluminum panel will get made at the bottom. We'll do that in another video, but I think we'll call that the end of this video number 4. If you have any questions on this, feel free to let me know. I'm not an expert metal shaper by any means, but I think that turned out pretty decent for what my abilities and skills are. So thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, thanks for liking, and you guys have a great day.